Good evening. I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. Lots of you calling into our newsroom tonight about the jolt the Bay Area got about 20 minutes ago. 2 earthquakes centered in Pleasant Hill, the biggest of 4.5.
KPIX 5's Betty Yu is in Lafayette, where tonight's earthquake was definitely widely felt. Betty?
That's right, Ken. We're in the downtown Lafayette area, and my photographer and I definitely felt this earthquake. I was inside the news van when it happened, working on the computer, when all of a sudden we felt the truck shake. And it really felt like a quick jolt. It lasted for a few seconds, and then shortly after that, a woman who lives nearby in senior housing ran out frantic, saying that she felt this earthquake, and, you know, she was so rattled by it, she could not appear on camera. But right now we are seeing a very active response on Twitter. People all across the Bay Area are reporting feeling that they felt this earthquake, particularly all across the East Bay. Responses from people in Oakland, Antioch, Pleasanton, and so forth. So we will continue to monitor this situation and bring you any developments as soon as we get them. Veronica and Ken?
Yeah, Betty, wanted to ask you real quickly. We had a situation where we had actually 2 earthquakes within 10 minutes. One was a much smaller magnitude 2.5. And then about 10 minutes later, according to USGS, we had the 4.5. Has anybody talked about any damage at all in their homes, even minor damage?
So far, there are no reports of any injuries or damage so far, at least in this area. I know my photographer and I probably felt just the one earthquake, the larger one.
All right, Betty Yu reporting live from Lafayette. Thank you, Betty. And we have Amy Vaughn from the USGS with us on the phone right now. Hi, Amy.
Hi there.
Moments ago, Amy, we were speaking with you about the second earthquake that registered less than a 3.0 magnitude. Do you have any more information on exactly where that was centered and any more details about that quake?
Right now, the best information we have on that is that they were pretty much around the same location. There is an error within our location capabilities, but basically the same. It's definitely a foreshock of this larger event.
Okay, so they didn't happen simultaneously. This one happened right before the bigger one.
Correct, about 10 minutes prior.
Oh, okay, 10 minutes apart. And do you have any more information at this point about the 4.5?
We don't have any other information right now. That magnitude is holding strong. We do know that, again, this was, about 14.5 kilometers deep, so fairly normal in its shallowness, and thus it's more intense feeling. We have almost 30,000 responses on our Did You Feel It website that we have at earthquake.usgs.gov, and we're seeing responses, obviously, of reporting moderate shaking, intensity 5-ish, right there at the epicenter, and then we're seeing felt all the way as far out as almost Reno, Fresno, etc. So this is definitely widely felt, even further than you guys might be seeing.
Can you tell us more about the fault line in this area?
We still don't have information about which fault it may have occurred on. That's probably something that's going to be reserved for some scientists in the morning when they return. And they'll probably look at some patterns and look at more the rupturing of how that event unfolded. And I don't have that information at my fingertips.
Is it unusual, Amy, to have an earthquake that's felt so widely? You mentioned, for sure in San Francisco, we felt it here, but as far away as Reno, Nevada, and who knows how far south or north, a magnitude 4.5 create that much disturbance?
It definitely can. For instance, just for relative perspective, if this was an earthquake east of the Rockies, and it was a 4 or 5, the felt region would have been up to 10 times greater than what we're even seeing here. But in California and in areas Rockies and West, because of the nature of the geology and the sedimentation and more of the bedrockness in that area, we don't see earthquakes as strong. They're not, the same magnitude earthquake would not be as widely felt or experienced quite as intensely as it would where looser sedimentation and more waves can propagate with more energy elsewhere. So it's still a little surprising maybe that we're even seeing it into Nevada, but not entirely.
The good news at this point is that PG&E is reporting that there has been no damage, no reports of damage that they know of. Also the same thing with Contra Costa Fire. For some folks who may have missed this quake, especially the first one, the second one, can you describe exactly what type of quake it was?
Right now, we're still looking at some of the mechanisms, and I know you guys mentioned maybe feeling some interesting double jolting, and I think we're going to have to look a little deeper in to see if there may have been maybe a double event of some sort. But then you definitely get the different parts of the earthquake where you have the primary and the secondary, and then sort of the surface wave response. And you could have been feeling different pieces of that. Generally in this area, the earthquakes are strike slip, but I'm not sure what we're seeing quite yet on this one. So from what I can tell, it looks like strike slip, but again, people will give that more review by tomorrow, I think, with just more scientific tools to look at more details, including the fault.
All right. Amy Vaughn with USGS, we appreciate that.
We're also getting some information from BART that they are now in a reduced mode. This is what they go into as a precaution to check the trackways. They are now running at 20% speed right now, system-wide. So, the system shuts down in another hour, but if you're waiting for someone to get home, it may take a while. BART reporting no damage, but just to be on the safe side, they are at reduced speeds right now.
And again, PG&E also, no reports of damage there. Contra Costa Fire saying about the same thing. Let's send it over now to our meteorologist, Darren Peck, who's also been monitoring the situation for us. Darren?
Veronica, Ken, I know you both said you felt this thing when it happened at 8:35. Let me show you just how widely felt this was. If you take a look at the map over my shoulder, this is the, quote, "Did you feel it" map, which our USGS representative was just talking about, and she said this was felt over a wide area. The epicenter was a mile south-southeast of Pleasant Hill. I'm going to come in for a close-up look at that in a second, but first, take a look at the peninsula and the city. Pretty widely felt, but the colors of light blue tell you most of the reports that are coming in here are fairly light. Same thing for the East Bay. You can get down into the South Bay, similar story. But if we come in for a close-up look at the epicenter here, in and around the Diablo Valley here, just to the southeast of Pleasant Hill, this was felt moderately. A 4.5 is not going to go unnoticed. At this point, we don't have any reports of damage. And as far as what fault it happened on, if we can't tell you exactly which one it was, I can tell you which ones it wasn't. This was not the San Andreas. This was not the Hayward. Those are the two we are the most concerned about. Granted, there's a whole series of other faults that splay off from that. But the epicenter of this earthquake is too far inland to have been on either of the two big ones, guys.
Well, it's funny, Darren, because when it first happened, I think the first USGS report said 2.9 in Walden, and all I could think was that was definitely bigger than a 2.9. And then, of course,
a lot of people
the
said
second
that,
report
yeah.
came out saying that it was a 4.5, and I thought,
wow, it sure
that
felt
sounds
bigger than that.
a lot more like it,
Makes sense
4.5.
now, yeah.
All right, Darren, we appreciate it. Thanks. Make sure you stay with us on air and online. As this story develops, we're going to bring you the very latest. You can always head to our website as well, kpix.com.